The inside joke has been a bit of a staple for long-running franchises. A little nod to the fans who keep the machine rolling. Those who parse every panel, read every interview, and watch every video looking to find out as much as possible about their favorite fictional world. With decades of comics and some amazing talent working to create the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there's plenty of room for some hidden jokes, and here are some of our favorites. Marvel's size-adjustable hero Ant-Man hasn't always had the easiest road to respect. In the pages of the comics, the surly Hank Pym had more of a few dust-ups with his own teammates. He's even rotated through a few name and theme changes to try and improve his image. Even outside the comics, Ant-Man has struggled with gaining respect. On Saturday Night Live, Garrett Morris played the Shrinky-Dink hero in a sketch where he tried to get the respect of his fellow heroes, including John Belushi's Hulk, who just laughs at his amazing ability to become really small. It's more useful than you think, Hulk, but being big is Hulk's thing, so we can see where he can get confused. That sketch got the cameo nod in the first Ant-Man film, when Scott Lang falls from his apartment on top of a taxi cab driven by Garrett Morris himself.
What the hell?
With the loose band of misfits as everyone's favorite group of space heroes, it's hard to imagine a world before James Gunn's hit movie made characters like Star-Lord, Gamora, and Rocket household names. With his bestie Groot, Rocket has become a clear fan favorite. Both characters are done through the magic of CGI or computer-generated imagery. On set, they're often little more than someone holding a green ball. Regardless, just in case anyone might be concerned, the Guardians of the Galaxy credits assured us that no raccoons or trees were harmed in making the movie. Even the Volume 2 credits would find names occasionally changed to Groot's single sentence, "I am Groot." While geek legend Joss Whedon helped define the shape of the Marvel Cinematic Universe by bringing Earth's mightiest heroes together in the Avengers and Age of Ultron, when he left the MCU, the show had to go on. Feige and Marvel Studios turned to an unlikely source, a set of brothers better known for their work in television. The Russo brothers had already wowed audiences with Captain America: The Winter Soldier, placing the star-spangled super soldier in the middle of a spy thriller. Spy stories are obviously more awesome with superheroes, huh? Take note, James Bond. For their follow-up Civil War, the Russos snuck in a nod to their television heritage, notably their time on Arrested Development. In the background of the airport fight in Civil War, they placed the stair truck from the iconic show. Just remember, there's always money in the banana stand. Modern special effects have come a long way, especially with computer graphics. Unlike in the past when special effects secrets were guarded, now people can head to colleges to learn their craft. One of the most prominent schools turning out today and tomorrow's artists is the California Institute for the Arts, usually referenced to as CalArts. It's a collection of former CalArts students that formed a little company called Pixar. Yeah, you might have heard of them. The lamp animating geniuses at Pixar aren't the only group of CalArts grads making a splash on the big screen, since more than a few of them make the MCU look as amazing as it is. CalArts alum have come up with a nod to their alma mater, and that's A113. That's the room number to the graphic design and character animation classroom. The number appears in the news broadcast for the Avengers and Spider Drone's display. While there's a lot of hay made over things like Star Trek versus Star Wars, or even Marvel versus DC, when it gets right down to it, a fan is a fan, and they're generally a fan of more than one thing. For Kevin Feige, he grew up with one of the biggest fandoms, that is, a little franchise known as Star Wars. You might have heard of it. One of the more notable tropes of the Star Wars movies is how much it hates hands. Luke loses his hand in Empire Strikes Back. He returns the favor, taking his dad's hand in Return of the Jedi. And Mace Windu loses a hand. As a nod to some of his favorite movies, Feige and company replicated the hand-hating ways by having someone lose a hand in every Phase 2 movie in the MCU. Sometimes an actor gets to appear in more than one major franchise. Or you're Hugo Weaving and you manage to show up in almost all of them somehow. Another person to make the crossover from one big franchise to another was Laurence Fishburne. In The Matrix, Fishburne played the leader of a group of resistance fighters, rising up against the machines that had taken over the Earth and made humans into batteries. Wait, batteries? That was their plan? Anyway, doesn't matter, the fights were cool. Fishburne also appeared as Bill Foster in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Foster was the contentious former partner of the also contentious Hank Pym, and part of the Goliath program, where those who got small tried to get real big. When the Pyms pay a visit to Professor Foster, there's a hint at his revolutionary past with a Matrix formula on the chalkboard behind him as he wraps up his lecture. Every hero has a saying or a phrase of something associated with them. For the Hulk, the phrase that's most associated with the big green rage machine comes from the Incredible Hulk TV series. trying to prevent his bigger, angrier half from delivering a beatdown on a nosy reporter. The TV show Banner gives a sound warning. Don't make me angry. You won't like me when I'm angry. Banner, whether you know him as Bruce or David, has constantly had to maintain a calm mood in order to keep the rage monster from coming out and smashing things, as the Hulk does. Oh, he smashes stuff real good. When Loki's plan to unleash the Hulk on the freshly assembled Avengers in the first movie works, Banner finds himself losing control over a warning on the floor. Warning, contents under pressure. No truer words. Target is angry. Target is angry!
Run, bitch! Run!
In the first two outings of the mighty Thor, it was a more or less somber affair. Of course, with a rival whose title is the God of Mischief, there's plenty of humor and lightheartedness to be had, but they were still more formal affairs than the swashbuckling counterparts in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. For his third outing, however, the MCU went in an entirely different direction, employing the talents of New Zealand director Taika Waititi, notable for cult comedy hits like What We Do in the Shadows. If you haven't seen it, go watch it right now. He brought the comic sensibility to an otherwise dark story of Thor losing his dad, his hammer, and his homeland. Some of that humor was subtle. Waititi played Korg, the giant rock monster who was captured after starting a revolution without making enough flyers. That means that paper beat rock. Get it? Later, when Korg sits on his gladiator buddy Meek, whose chosen weapons are a pair of blades, well, rock beats scissors. At the end of Iron Man, right before the credits roll, Tony Stark outs himself as the Invincible Iron Man. It was a bold move, as secret identities are a hallmark of the superhero story. With Tony outing himself, the secret identities became the exception rather than the norm in the MCU. But that doesn't mean there aren't a few nods out there to their comic book counterpart. In the comics, the mighty Thor has had an awkward association with his. He was either bonded with, or always was, or once became a man named Dr. Donald Blake, who became Thor by slamming his walking cane, which would become Mjolnir. Yeah, we did say it was awkward. Donald Blake was also the identity Dr. Selvig gave the Asgardian to slip him out of S.H.I.E.L.D. custody in the first Thor movie. Peter Quill was taken as a boy from Earth into the far ends of space by Yondu at the behest of Ego, the living planet. Fortunately for Quill, Yondu didn't deliver the young Quill to his father, instead keeping him on board with the Ravagers, using his small size to get into places and steal stuff. Plus, Yondu cared. Oh, Yondu, you big softy? Quill was only left with his memories of the mid-80s and a playlist that his dying mom made him to remind himself of the world he left behind. Quill tries to make sure he doesn't lose the connection to his homeworld by making references to it. Knight Rider and Cheers aren't the only 80s references to make Quill feel at home. His first spaceship is called the Milano, named after actress and heartthrob Alyssa Milano. After that ship was destroyed, it was replaced by the Benatar, named after singer Pat Benatar, who's notable for her hit songs Love is a Battlefield and Hit Me With Your Best Shot. Fire away, everybody! There's a lot that's memorable about Tony Stark's intro to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There's the awesome Jericho bomb demonstration, the entrance of the Mark I Iron Man armor, and of course Tony's contentious relationships with his helper robots. Oh yeah, there was a villain in there too somewhere. Obadiah Stane didn't take too kindly to the Stark scion taking Stark Industries out of the weapons game, and went about making himself a suit of power armor, the massive Ironmonger. The vengeful Stane was played by actor who's better known for his laid-back and chill roles, Jeff Bridges. One of the most laid-back and chilled-out characters he's played is the dude in the Coen brothers classic, The Big Lebowski. There was a shout-out to that role in Iron Man when Stane makes a secret weapons shipment aboard a vessel called the MSC Lebowski, noted on his secret files. Captain America: The First Avenger was the first of Marvel's period pieces, setting all but its post-credits scene during World War II. Featuring super soldier Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, fighting the Hydra super soldier Red Skull. For Red Skull, being a super soldier wasn't enough. He sought even more power. He does that by discovering the whereabouts of a certain powerful cube known as the Tesseract, which, as we all know by now, contained the Space Stone. The movie opens with the ambitious and evil super soldier raiding a church in Norway to pull the Tesseract from its hiding place. Once he gets it, he makes a quip about the Führer digging around in the desert for trinkets. This is a passing reference to the other pulp movie franchise set in the same era, Indiana Jones and the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark, that saw Nazis seeking the Ark of the Covenant. Hardcore Marvel Comics historians will tell you that often, more than one person will carry the banner of a name. Hank Pym may have started out as the original Ant-Man, but that title has passed down to Scott Lang. The Captain Marvel title has been held by no less than 7 different people, including one who had no association with the Kree or the Skrull. Before Marvel's first family went into space and came back as the Fantastic Four, including the Human Torch, there was another Human Torch in the pages of Marvel, only he wasn't actually human. Instead, he was an android with the power of turning into flame. That Human Torch eventually became the foundation for Vision in the comics. The android Human Torch was given a shout-out during the World's Fair at the Stark exhibit as a display of Stark's landmark technology. Chris Evans played both Captain America and the Human Torch in different movies. Flame on! Not every character makes their debut in the pages of their own comics. For a lot of Silver Age and Golden Age heroes, they made their mark in anthology series that the publisher already had going on. When it comes to the mighty Thor, he made his debut in an anthology comic known as Journey into Mystery. When Thor's dad gets mad at the Thunderer for impetuously restarting a war with the Frost Giants, he places an enchantment on his favorite toy and banishes Thor to Midgard, and that's Earth to us. While he's there sorting out what he can do to earn his hammer's respect, and by extension his dad's, in the background is a tourism billboard that contains the phrase Land of Enchantment, Journey into Mystery. Likewise, Ant-Man's Tales to Astonish debut gave a name drop when Darren Cross refers to archival Ant-Man footage with that same phrase. Stan Lee had managed to make his mark not only with the amazing world he fostered into being, but being perhaps one of the most enthusiastic creators out there. Dating all the way back to the TV movie Trial of the Incredible Hulk, oh how far we've come. Stan Lee has been making cameos in almost all of the adaptations of his iconic characters. He even made one in DC's Teen Titans Go to the Movies. He just loves making cameos, this guy. With all of his appearances, it led to fans theorizing that Stan Lee was none other than Uatu, the Watcher. When Rocket and Yondu make their 700 jumps on their way to Ego, they pass by the Watchers in the process of getting briefed by none other than Stan the Man himself. Excelsior! We love you, Stan! Stan Lee wasn't the only comic book creator to make his way onto the big screen as a tribute to the comics they made. When Thor's hammer lands in the New Mexico desert with an enchantment, making sure that no one worthy of its power picks it up, more than a few people show up and try to pick it up. One of those is J. Michael Straczynski, perhaps better known for the show he created Babylon 5. Straczynski also had a fairly popular run as the writer of Thor. At an Asgardian dinner, laughing at Lady Sif's jokes is another notable Thor scribe. Walt Simonson had a legendary run in the comics with storylines responsible for some of Thor's most memorable moments, like when Thor was turned into a frog and helped fight a frog war. He also created the fan favorite Beta Ray Bill, who appeared on the Grandmaster's Tower in Thor Ragnarok. Creator cameos and sketch comedians aren't the only ones to pop up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a nod to other works. One of the things that brought the Russo brothers to the attention of Marvel Studios as guys who could direct both action and comedy was an episode of the cult favorite show Community called Modern Warfare, perhaps better known as the Paintball episode. The Paintball episodes became a staple of Community seasons, and the action and comedy chops of the Russo brothers came to the MCU. They've also gotten some of their Community cast into the MCU as well. Jim Rash played the Dean in Community, and in Civil War, he had a similar school administrator role after Tony Stark funds all of MIT students' projects. Danny Pudi, the fast-talking pop culture referencing Abed, plays the good guy S.H.I.E.L.D. agent in The Winter Soldier, who lets Cap into the communications room. Cool. Some of the hidden references can also be hints at possible futures for the MCU. In the comics, a character can last as long as people are willing to draw them. Peter Parker hasn't aged as much as you'd expect since 1962. For the movies, actors age and move on, and Avengers Endgame might be that time for actor Chris Evans and Captain America. In the comics, the moniker of Captain America has been held by more than just Steve Rogers. Trusted pal Sam Wilson, aka Falcon, has taken over, as well as longtime bestie Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, the White Wolf, or whatever he's called these days. In almost every appearance of Bucky in the MCU, at some point, he is wound up with Cap's shield in his hands, a less than subtle nod to his job at taking over for his super soldier pal. Whether that plays out in the MCU remains to be seen. The main cast of the Marvel Cinematic Universe has managed to define the roles that they play. It's hard to imagine Iron Man as anything other than Robert Downey Jr., and Samuel L. Jackson's portrayal of Nick Fury has managed to define the character. With his stunning physique and long blonde locks, Chris Hemsworth and his abs embody the god of thunder himself, the mighty Thor. Who could possibly play a Hemsworth Thor in a play about Thor within a Thor movie? Well, to answer that question, to play a Thor you need to be a Hemsworth. That would be Chris's brother Luke, who plays Thor in Loki's theatrical recreation of the sacrifice he faked in the Dark World that played out in Ragnarok. Luke Hemsworth played his brother's role, mourning over a dying Loki who himself is being played by Matt Damon in a surprise cameo. It was all orchestrated by Loki, who was posing as Odin. Man, Asgard can get complicated. Tony Stark's casual wear reflects the image of the modern tech billionaire. Like Zuckerberg's ever-present hoodie, Tony Stark's Iron Man made his entrance to the Marvel Cinematic Universe with the famous guitar intro in the heavy metal song Iron Man, which is very fitting. That on-the-nose selection was referenced again in Tony Stark's casual wear when he met his future teammates in the Avengers. There he wears a faded black tour t-shirt from the band Black Sabbath, who performed the 1970 hit Iron Man, just in case you didn't know. The song itself isn't about Marvel's Iron Man. You can also replace the lyrics with green eggs and ham. Go ahead, try it. Green eggs and ham. Yeah, it works. Those are some hidden jokes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What are some of your favorites? What did we leave out that you like? Let us know in the comments and make sure to subscribe to CBR and ring that notifications bell for more videos straight to your inbox. Thanks for watching.